Hi, my name's Steve. Welcome to another Mindbomb Training video. This time we're back with the quick tips videos, and this one is to do with importing, how to start your own import business. It's one of the things that I've actually done a fair bit of. I've dealt for a long time with China, and pleased to say that we've still got some good friends in Hong Kong and China. But the whole thing about starting out with the idea of importing product, it can seem very attractive because obviously we all know if you can import and get the stuff direct from the factory, it's always going to be a cheaper price. But it's inherently more risky for the business, not only because you become the primary importer, but also you take on the risk of getting all of the, dotting all the I's, crossing all the T's, and getting all the detail right in doing your importing and making sure that all your maths add up. That you get the cost just right for all the imported products. So yeah, here's a few quick tips anyway, keep in mind while you're actually looking at starting your own import business. So quick tip number one, check the import regulations. It may sound obvious, but you've got to make sure that you know exactly what the regulations are for your type of product that you're going to be importing. Obviously there's things like the duty and so on, the tax that you're going to pay on bringing it in. But also, do you need specific approvals? Do you need a license? Certain high value goods, so that you make sure that you comply with things like the VAT regulations. And similarly, you might need safety certificates. You might need a certificate to show that the product doesn't actually contain any dangerous chemicals or that kind of thing as well. So make sure that you know the regulations for your kind of product. Not only for the tariff, make sure that you actually know the other regulations as well. So point number two is to consider your shipping options. It can be really difficult when you're starting out to actually try and gauge the size of the shipment, but also whether you're going to import that same product regularly or whether it's just going to be a kind of one-off trial and see what happens. But yeah, you've got to think through the different types of shipping options that you've got. Obviously you've got sea freight with the full container loads, but you can actually bring part container loads as well by sea. So if something's relatively bulky and maybe quite low cost, then that could be a good option to look at. And on the other side of the scale, if it's actually quite a small product but reasonably high value, then you probably want to be doing that either by courier, door-to-door service, so that you actually get that as quickly as possible, or by air cargo, air freight. And regular air cargo, really, there's quite a few flat fees involved with things like terminal handling and the airport handling. So air cargo can actually be quite a bit cheaper, but really only once you're getting up into maybe 50 to 100 kilos, so maybe 8 or 10 boxes potentially. So just think about the size of the cargo, and make sure you've got accurate details from the supplier about size, weights and dimensions, and then you can actually cost it up properly. You might not have the space for one big sea freight shipment, so can you actually break it down with the supplier, even though you order something all at the same time, maybe 5,000 pieces, but have it split down into 5 separate lots, so that they ship to you every couple of weeks or even every month, so that you're actually just getting a regular delivery, but yeah, maybe over a period of time. So tip number three is to check your insurance. Think about the insurance of what you're going to do. The problem with shipping in bulk from overseas is that it consolidates the risk in one shipment. So instead of maybe buying something locally that you buy every week, all of a sudden you can be taking the risk on one shipment that might be $10,000-$20,000 or whatever it is. It can be a lump of money all in one go. So I'd recommend looking at the goods in transit policy, so that you're actually insuring the risk of the product from one end to the other, so as soon as it leaves the factory until it's actually arrived at your door. So if something happens to it wherever along the way, and then you'll be covered. We'll actually get the money reimbursed by the insurance company instead of being a total write-off for that shipment. So yeah, definitely look into goods in transit insurance, and see whether it's actually viable for your type of business. Not hugely expensive, and normally you would get a policy that will actually cover you for a whole year shipment. So tip number 4, make sure you've done your cash flow forecast. This is so important. People don't kind of realise that the impact of paying for something up front, having it on the high seas for maybe a month to come over from China, and then you're going to keep it in stock longer in the UK, is going to have a real impact on the cash flow for the business. So make sure you do your numbers in advance. Look at what the impact is going to be in terms of carrying more stock, paying for it up front, and then maybe even giving trade terms out, waiting to be paid at the other end of things. So it can really mess up the cash flow for the business. You might actually be feeling like everything's going in the right direction, but all of a sudden you've got to find an extra lump of money for the covering that amount of time that you're out of pocket. So yes, it can be attractive. Obviously costs are a lot less, but make sure you've got your cash flow forecast covered. And then tip number 5 is a bit of an unusual one, but I would say stake your claim in the market in terms of competition. So if you're in a market and you're maybe buying locally, selling to other customers, other trade customers maybe, what it can be an idea to do is to actually signal that you're going to start importing a lot more of the product yourself. So either trying to find other traders or wholesalers similar to yourself. Maybe they actually want to do a deal with you, share the shipping cost, or you can bring the product and then just add on a small margin for them to actually to take the product through. Or otherwise do some special deals, sales and this kind of thing for a few months, just to really ramp up the volume, make sure that you're confident with stepping up to that next level of quantity that you're going to need when you're actually importing the product. Remember, it's all about the quantity. The more that you can bring, then the cheaper that product is going to become. Not just at the factory door, but also on the shipping costs. If you can bring stuff by air freight, great. Then the next move is to being able to fill a container load, and that's when you can really get the cost down. So make sure that you've actually staked a claim in the market. You really want to ramp up the volume, even in advance of actually starting to import yourself. It might have an impact for a little while on the margins, but get those customers, add the volume customers in that you're going to need. And then when it starts to flow through, you've got your own imported product, margin comes back, and in fact it's healthier then for the smaller quantities that you're selling. And overall, you'll actually see a good benefit. Not only are you getting back to the same margins, but you're getting much more volume as well. So yeah, those are my quick tips for starting an import business. Please bear those in mind. There's a whole lot more to it than that, but just for this video for the moment, it's probably something that I will return to actually in future. It's definitely something that a lot of people are asking about. So yeah, thank you for watching, and join me next time for more business quick tips. Thank you very much.